Christmas morning, liming with my friends and family, greeting everyone around, eating, dancing, getting down, spending we Christmas in Guyana, watching all the little children running up and down, playing excitedly with their toys, making sure we get we share of curry, goat and rum, chocolate cards and dominoes with the boys. Yes, man. There's nothing like me home on Christmas morning. Everybody there soca dancing. Masquerade band coming down. Mother Sally prancing round. Spending we Christmas in Guyana. Merry Christmas! Ginger beer jumping, winding up the boomsy in and out, sneaking in the kitchen to see what grandma cooking, putting something hot inside me mouth. Ow! There's nothing like me home on Christmas morning. Garlic pork and black fruit cake baking, plenty sorrel and mobby, ice apple and enough sweet tea, spending we Christmas in Guyana. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! Hey, Captain Paul, how black eye boy? Hey, sure? Ho, ho, ho! Christmas morning, liming with my friends and family, greeting everyone around, eating, dancing, getting down, spending we Christmas in Guyana, watching all the little children running up and down, playing excitedly with their toys, making sure we get we share of curry, goat and rum, chocolate cards and dominoes with the boys. Yes, man.
Yes, indeed, of course. A pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, and South Central, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web. Pleasant good night to you. Of course, Joshua will not be with us tonight. Well, of course, he had a very exhausting, I would say, of course, test period. And then, of course, today was his school's frolic. So, of course, just as any human being, and children in particular, they of course they play hard, and so of course eventually they become of course wear down or tired, and so of course they have to compensate early, or should I say recuperate early, so that they can make certain that they are ready for the next day of, there's a secret, a next day of mischief. That is of course between the children and myself. Don't tell mommy, don't tell daddy, but we know that you are about mischief. But this is the time for it. They are children. But let's see, of course, why in Guyana this tune would have been dedicated to. Well, of course, we are talking about Trinidad. Nowhere in the world could celebrate Trinidad. Nowhere in the world could celebrate Christmas better than Trinidad. So let's say it again. I think it is jumpy, it is vibrant, it is dynamic, and of course, it will attract the attention of course, most Trinbagonians. Let's say it again. I think it was beautifully put together.
Every time when Christmas come, Marco and them boys are wrong, drinking rum and telling old time story. Ho, ho, ho!
Well, a pleasant good night to all of the Guyanese population in Guyana. These days, of course, we have to tread gingerly because, of course, that is the emerging economy of the Caribbean and indeed the world. And therefore, we would be foolhardy not to, of course, ensure that our relationship is no way strained, tarnished, but we have one that is cordial, that is cooperative, and that, of course, we can have some economic neutrality, meaning that we can share the resources of Guyana with us in Trinidad so that we all benefit economically, socially, and of course for the generation of wealth, peace, prosperity, and of course making certain that we grow and grow and grow. That is a peaceful Caribbean in the making. Let's say it again.
All them women chutney dancing, drinking ginger beer, jumping, winding up the boomsy in and out. Sneaking in the kitchen to see what grandma cooking, putting something hot inside me mouth. Ow! There's nothing like the home on Christmas morning. Garlic pork and black fruit cake baking. Plenty sorrel and mobby, ice apple and enough sweet tea. Spending we Christmas in Guyana. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! Hey, Captain Paul, how black eye boy? Hey, sure? Merry Christmas, boy! Ho, ho, ho! Christmas come, Marco and them boys are wrong, drinking rum and telling old time story. Neville Budan is the man, Christmas he does kill two rum, we eating long roti with chip curry. Knock the back, nothing like the home on Christmas morning. Good friends already gathering, eating lava meat well done, drinking wine and XM rum, spending we Christmas in Guyana. Welcome, boys. Cheers. On the plane, I'm drinking booze. Pilot said for call Santa Cruz. Ingrid begging me to make a stop. She don't want no callaloo. Trinidad Pillow won't do his Guyanese met MG and pepper pot for she. There's nothing like me home on Christmas morning. Liming with me friends and family. Greeting everyone around. Eating, dancing, getting down. Spending we Christmas in Guyana. Spending we Christmas in Guyana. Spending we Christmas in Guyana. Merry Christmas!
I'm sure you are enjoying it just as I am. I mean, it is just fantastic. Yes, Guyana, of course, our Guyanese contributors and those of us who are sympathetic to the mutual relationship that we would have had with that country. Well, I want to tell you, of course, a Merry Christmas at the same time. Yes, from the corridor transformation and from the deep recesses of the Trinbagonian, of course, community and our ability, of course, to appreciate that which is, I mean, simply superlative. But let's get on to tonight's program. Yesterday, let's get up to tonight's program. Of course, what is taking place in Trinidad and Tobago? Well, I think that the controversy that is brewing, yes, that is brewing undeservedly, because there are some people, I often say, want to have the cake and eat it. They want to have the cake and eat it. So those trade unions who settled for 4%, in an effort to sustain a diabolical, evil, reckless, brutal insincere, out of its depth, mismanaged, corruptly, engage in all kinds of nefarious activities so as to promote themselves, their families, and their favorites and or acquaintances of their choice. Yes, I'm talking about nepotism, cronyism, and unadulterated corruption associated with it. And I've often said the symbol, and I passed there the other day so I could now confirm, because we did predict on this program and elsewhere that the Balize House will be a lasting, almost what I consider to be irrefutable and dominant, and with a high degree of longevity. Balize House is a symbol of that brutal, ruthless, reckless raid on the treasury of Trinidad and Tobago. And I say so without fear of contradiction. Pelu Beckers could talk what she want. Both of them could talk what they want. They could talk about the people and threatening, of course, the Prime Minister, Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa, with some kind of amorphous, illusionary, legal threat or action, because she said that the PNM, having regard to its conduct in government and having regard to its conduct outside of government in a contemporaneous nature, demonstrates, and one cannot take that off the table of your consciousness and your rationality as individuals, institutions, and or communities, that they seem to have a proclivity, a propensity to swing the pendulum in favor of the criminal elements, whether here at home, in our surrounding waters, in the region, or farther afield. What is embarrassing, or should I say not truthful about that statement cannot be, because of fact. I called Rowley a rapist and a pedophile for over 10 years. And I'm doing it now again. By the very statement that I'm making. And most, he said, is trying to, of course, generate this opaque, obfuscatory, and diversion by talking about he ain't go sue anybody because that is how it is, and that the UNC elements have been castigating and perpetuating a narrative to sully his character. You can't sully that which is already sullied, Rowley. You cannot. Because you have a duty and responsibility, but hypocritically, when it is convenient, he then talks about his name, as Shakespeare would say, who steals my purse steals trash. Who steals my good name, of course. It is something that is difficult to reinstate. Well, clearly over that period that I have been calling Rowley a rapist and a pedophile, clearly his name is trash. His name to him is trash. Not who steals my purse steals trash. His name is trash. And therefore we can substitute his name in the phrase created and invented by Shakespeare to say that In the case of Rowley, who steals my name steals trash. That's what it is. But of course, we have better things to focus our minds about rather than the hyperboles, the superfluous and superficial cacophonous babblings and the ambulatory orations of a leader of the opposition and head of the PNM called Penelope Beckles. It's all about fluff and hope, like a mason who has mixed his mortar with what? With soap water. I remember that very distinctly because when we were building our house in Laventille, Passy Street, Smith Lane, yes, Smith Lane, named after our family, Smith Lane in Laventille, Passy Street, off Passy Street. I remember that ignorance could cost you a pretty penny. Yeah. So there was a young fella who thought any water could have been sufficient to mix cement with sand so as to generate a mixture called mortar that you will use to plaster walls. And he went for soap water and poured it in. And not for hell, that water wouldn't stay on the wall. Well, that is Rowley and Penelope Beckles and the other cohorts of this bunch of opportunistic political, no good, obsolete parasites. Yes, no good, obsolete parasites. But tonight, of course, I want to play for you because you see, the question of having your cake and eating it has very significant implications if you are a victim of a situation where you try to do damage and in the process you damage yourself, but you want to be compensated as if you didn't do the damage to yourself. That is a piece of madness similar to a person who is doing the same thing over and over, particularly if it is nefarious, wicked, diabolical, and of course inimical to his or what he considers to be sacred or important interests. Yeah. Yeah. It's a similar to that. You eat your cake, literally, and then, of course, want to get somebody else's cake because the cake you ate may have been, of course, griping. It may not be finished. It may not be, but you hurry and you're greedy. You eat it and know that the real thing comes. And maybe we could put it in biblical context. I know tonight is not Sunday, but I think we could still make reference. Like those persons, like the, remember the groom, and those who was the bride and the groom, and of course the story about the bride and the groom, and of course those who were attending the wedding, but of course came with their lamps half filled, and there are others who came with it filled and with some extras, so just in case they had to stay a little longer. But of course, whilst they who ran out of fuel in their lamps went to fetch fresh fuel, as the case may be, the wedding came and went, and of course only with those who were prepared. So I am saying all of that to say that those trade unions that including the teachers trade union, teachers, you have to do something about our leadership, because them have only in this situation. And of course those with the borough council, I think it's called amalgamated trade union, I hear them talking about they want to get the same benefits as that of the PSA that held out, that say no, 4%, 5%, waste of time. No, you are not only obnoxious not only disrespectful, I'm talking about, of course, the rolling into what I consider to be a very ephemeral stint by the temporary Prime Minister called Stuart Young. Yeah, ephemeral, short-lived. And what was worst in this situation, and why they must not benefit from their stupidity and their iniquities and their clearly intent to try to influence the electorate to return the nefarious, evil, wicked, diabolical PNM into government. We cannot escape that fact. And therefore, why it is that they must now benefit from the 10% that has been negotiated by people who, of course, say, no, that is an insult, that is disrespectful, that is unfair, that is wholly and solely incongruent with the arrangement for collective negotiations and the 3-year period for which negotiations in this country have been established by law and other conventions. Why? So they have turned a different narrative. And incidentally, of course, those who were waiting very long, like, of course, the NIB workers, that of TNTech, some of the TNTech workers, etc., they too have been favorably considered by this government, and not that they were part and parcel of the efforts of the leadership of the PSA, Felicia. And of course, I try to call you on Friday. I will, of course, try to get you over the weekend. So I trust that you'll have your phone open and getting a voicemail of a type. So I left something for you, just in case you are listening or watching, or indeed you have people that I'm sure would have been watching as well. Because of course there are certain specific things that I want to, let's say, clarify. Whether it be on the corridor transformation, this program from 8 o'clock to 9:30, or indeed on the ground report. And let me say, of course, I want to say that the ground report from the 5th of, for the first Monday in the new year, January, will be at the TTT. Put another way, will return to TTT, the TTT compound, where several radio stations, including, of course, Music 100, but of course, more specifically, Talk City 91.1, where, of course, the ground report will be beaming from, and at the same time slot from 6 to 9. And we will also be on Channel 4. So prepare yourself, get ready, because the ground report will be moving on so as to garner, so as to recultivate, and to, of course, share the good tidings and the realistic analyses that we would normally do and are reputed for. We have a reputation for, in other words, reputed for, or have a reputation for, to do it uniquely and to do it grassroots and to do it, of course, at the highest level where it is required. That is what I consider to be the elasticity or the variable or the varying ability that was built into the programming of the ground report. So look forward to that. I know that many would say it's a long time in coming and it's about time. But of course, we had the PNM in the way up to, of course, the 28th of April. No longer can they influence anything at all. Worse yet, The former, they now call him prime minister because he has a former because he had a prime minister in between that he handpicked. That ephemeral prime minister called Stuart Young a total buffoon, a total nincompoop. You just have about a couple months before the inevitable election because whether he had stayed until November this year, he must and had to call election because it was constitutionally due. So Rowley stayed as prime minister until it was the last straw. It was the twilight. It was inevitable, not midterm, and not 2 years ago, not even a year ago, He hand the man that and he lap it up. It's a good thing you have a wise people in this government. Because it was it appeared to be a conspiracy not to provide some kind of leadership for the country in that short space of time when there was an inevitable election in a very short space of time, and therefore a fella now would have had some time to really feel and to settle himself in the office of prime minister. No way it could have. If he had done it a year or two ago, fine. But a couple months, several months, you hand pick the man and hand it over and force him not on the PNM but also on the population. And he's so greedy for power. He's so greedy for the position. His gormandization has no limit in this case. It is fathomless, unfathomable, in other words. Before you say no, before you read the play and see that Rowley trying to escape the inevitable embarrassment. And why am I saying that? Why am I saying the inevitable embarrassment? Because no way Rowley could have won any election again. We saw all of the signs. We saw the decline. We saw, of course, from 23 seats to 22 seats. We saw, of course, a licking like chicken licking in Tobago. We saw, of course, the ascendancy of the UNC at the local government level. 14. It was difficult to even for the UNC to gain parity as far as local government elections are concerned. 7-7. Before that, of course, the UNC could have gained maybe 4, 5, 6 not electoral district, but certainly local government entities to come under their control. And we saw, of course, that. And we saw several by-elections that shows that the PNM, in fact, the one in Siparia, even Pep beat them in Siparia. PNM come last. Of course, well, the UNC will always be far, far, far ahead in terms of these by-elections. Those are the facts. Those are the statistical data that can't lie. I'm saying so with respect, of course, to Rowley's premature departure, because he knows that. So the talk about he's not the kind to leave office with his feet first, so suggesting that somehow he don't want to die in office. It's not that at all. You see, we can now prove that. Tomorrow, he is somewhere in Mason Hall, somewhere there, holding some kind of meeting, talking about, of course, the zone of peace and United Nations, etc., etc. And, of course, the advertisement of, sorry, I don't have a copy of it, but I'll get it for tomorrow night. It's saying that he's former honorable Prime Minister. What part of this man is honorable then, and what part of it is even now? I trust that nobody goes there. But of course, the devil has its followers. So one expects that some devilish, what I consider to be invasion of the mind, will cause someone to gravitate there. But I trust that he becomes like the cheese in the nursery rhyme. The cheese stand alone. That is what you should do to him in Tobago. He started off by being evil to Tobago. Landate is just one episode of that piece of betrayal of his own people. We saw it when he took material from the hospital desperately needed in Tobago and of course diverted to his personal development at Landate. So unashamedly, even during his tenure as Prime Minister, he changed the name from Landate, the same land, changed it from Landate, and then start, of course, to build a multi-story, multi-family apartments, similar to Imbert in Woodbrook, and possibly trying to compete with Al-Rari, but Al-Rari's business model to thief from the treasury and you and I is different. But nonetheless, it's about real estate. So he builds, of course, that across there. We went there during the last year elections, and we saw late in the night, just before Likoto, the entrance to his land, his property, it's just about, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe about 4 footsteps. 4 footsteps. The road that leads there, 4 footsteps before you reach the junction and the road sign that says welcome to Likoto. Yeah. That's why you see he said that he's living close to Likoto. If a Mason will be living close to Likoto. So I would have advised nobody to go there, let him stand there like the cheese waiting and hoping, because he has lost all credibility. He's a wicked man. And blue lights and silver bracelets are yet to, of course, be part and parcel of his post, a former prime minister's life and the leader of that nefarious organization that clearly not only has lost its way a long time ago, but clearly is destined for the dustbin of political history in this country. It's always important to say that as I, of course, return back to my substantive argument tonight. And that is, of course, the fact that not only has the present leader of the PNM lost her way and threatening, of course, veiled threats that will never materialize. And if it does, well, it's only superficial and superfluous, merely, of course, to gain some kind of political elusive traction that will never manifest in any political, what I consider to be enhancement. Yeah, any political enhancement opportunity. No, they are destined, of course, for the dustbin of political history in this country. But what am I talking about when I introduce, of course, the issue between the trade unions and those trade unions that are now asking for parity, for equity, according to them? They decided what they wanted when they took the 4% that they know was not right. They knew it was inhospitable. They knew that they were under duress, etc. Whatever argument that they wanted to project now, they knew full well, but were not prepared to make the sacrifice as the PSA did. As the PSA did, people, they did not. In fact, one of the clear and pellucid and unadulterated and highly conspicuous reason for the teachers union and the amalgamated union for taking that 4 and or 5%, as the case may be, issued by a parliamentarian or a politician in the form of a minister of finance. I'm talking about the midget called Imsbert, a total imps. You're seeing it every day, and I'm going to talk about him a little later. Let me just make sure that the line is open, because I find that I ain't getting interrupted, so I want to make sure. Yes, so the line is open. You can talk. I know that sometimes the conversation uttered or initiated by myself, of course, is so enthralling, is so mind-consuming that sometimes you forget that you can call in, and you don't want to interrupt out of, I suspect, respect for the gravity and the import or the importance of the discussion. But let me just conclude what I want to say with respect to that, to say that the intention by the trade unions that accepted the 4 and or later 5% was to make sure that the status quo, the political status quo, the political directorate remain in office. Are talking about the PNM. That, to me, is unpardonable. You cannot pardon that. You cannot pardon that. Because the rest of us who may not have negotiations as the PSA would have, or even their membership would have had because of the system that we operate. The fact is that the rest of us were evading and upset about property tax, upset about the implementation of increased electricity, water rate, and the general cost of living, quite apart from the inability of the PNM up to the 28th of April of this year to control the murders, or put another way, to have record-breaking from since 2022, 23, 24, record-breaking murders in this country. And all they're doing is talking and talking. And today, they have the audacity, the temerity, the gall, the effrontery, and the boldfacedness to give advice. Advice that they themselves did not take when they were at total control of the apparatus of government. They did not. So, our exercise in futility, our exercise in verbal, what I consider to be tautology, and an exercise in diatribal nonsensicality. But let's go to the line. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you, my friend.
I missed your call today. I'm in Alabama,
Okay. Yeah, my assistants asked of me whether I should call our foreign, let's say, contributors, and I told her go ahead. So she was calling because we now have a football tournament that we are looking for some support, and we thought we should go not just local but abroad as well. So that is basically what she wanted to talk to you about. But go ahead.
Okay, yes. I had a relative that died.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I'm down here. I told Andy. And I met, life has a lot of surprises in it.
Yes, boy, oh boy.
I met one of my co-workers that worked in the oil field with me,
All right. Yeah, that happens. Yeah. Yes.
And he was at well, what they call the reaper. I didn't even make him out in the week, you know.
Okay.
And so he was surprised. We didn't see probably in about maybe 35 years.
Wow, 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 wow.
And we had a long talk.
I could well
And
imagine.
I don't know if you remember, I told you that I used to play cards at a house on Arteta Avenue at the corner of Alfredo Street and Arteta Avenue.
Okay.
And one of the guys that I played with was the ex-Prime Minister's brother, Tony Williams.
Okay, okay,
You know,
okay.
Yeah, he was a card lover. But I also knew him because he was a very good friend of the guy who hosted those games. And this guy was from Remo.
I see.
And Tony used to come up every time there was parang at the Princess Royal Park in Remo.
Okay.
He would come up for quite a few hours before the show, and he would go to this friend's house.
I see.
And we would hang out and eat wild meat and take a couple of drinks and everything.
Those
so I
were the
get to know him
days.
personally.
I
Yes,
really-
good old days.
A dribbling,
Yes,
as they would
yes.
say now. Right now, a dribbling. Don't talk wild meat and thing now, but a dribbling. But go ahead.
And my friend who I met, he used to be there too, so he knew him personally also.
All right.
And we started to go back in times, and boy, he gave me a shocker. He
Okay.
went to his phone and he pulled up a story, Googled a story concerning Tony. And because that was Eric's last brother, you know?
Yes,
that was
yes.
his baby brother.
Okay.
And he was about 17 or 18 years older than we were, because me and my buddy, we were the same age, 78, you know.
Okay.
I'm 78 now, and he's about the same thing, going 79.
All right.
And he said, Lenny, you wouldn't believe our good friend, how he died.
All right.
He got a stroke. Tony got a stroke.
All right.
And his daughters took him to Mount Hope Hospital. Now, I want you to listen to this very, very clear, and who's listening to this, to see what this PNM party, led by the so-called father of the nation, they didn't speak for years. He and his brother did not speak for years.
Okay.
I don't know if they ever ended up having a relationship.
Okay.
But right there on the newspaper is showing to me this man whose brother name is on that hospital. I think, is that the Eric Williams Hospital in Mongo?
Yes,
Is
yes,
that
it
what's
is.
its name?
Yes, the Equilibrium Medical Complex it is called, to be specific, yes.
And Lennox, he is showing me they left our good friend, the ex-prime minister's brother, on a stretcher, just in the hallway for 2 days.
Wow.
For 2 days.
Wow.
And the
wow.
following morning after the 2 days, he died. He died. I could tears came to my eye, Lennox, because, you know, I know that ex-prime minister was a very vindictive man, very vindictive.
Yeah.
Like some who went up, who came after him. I'm not going to call no names. They know who they are, you know. And when I checked, I said, okay, let me pull up and see who was the minister of health at the time. And then when I saw it was a guy who played cards with Tony Williams and his Marima by the name of Jerry Nares, that I knew personally. He did not know what is the difference from a toe and a finger. He did not know what the difference between a toe and a finger. I knew him and Arima personally.
All right.
I said, oh my God, oh my God. You know, up to now, it's still bothering me. It's still bothering me. You know, left Tony, his brother, you know, the name of the hospital. And I believe a lot of people must have died that same way in Trinidad because of the health system. Because I understand the last health minister, he needs to go somewhere. I think you all call it, what do you call it, silver bracelet and blue light.
Yes,
You
yes,
know?
social blue light.
Yeah.
A term invented by Rowley that we intend to execute to high precision. Go ahead, yes.
And you know, you know what's great? All of them, the first place that they run to when they have a headache, is Miami they head to.
Oh,
the
yes,
place
yes.
where I live.
All of them,
But
all of them, yeah.
that is no longer available to them. I want to let them know that is no longer available to them, especially with all the findings of this new government. You understand what I'm saying to you?
I hear you, my friend.
It's
I hear you,
about
my friend.
time. It's about time the
Yeah.
Trinidadians get a fair shot. The black, the white, whoever. You Trinidadians, you need to get everything that the 1% getting and enjoying, you know, because I see it day in and day out. You know, they got properties in Pembroke Pines, they got one in Coral Springs, in Los Olas Boulevard, where that sleazebag lives called the Heart and his wife. You know what I'm saying.
Yes,
you
yes,
know?
yes. Very familiar. The ultimate symbol, of course, is Balize House itself. I mean, it is a...
Yes. But like
the
I said,
quintessential corrupt edifice systematically pursued by, of course, a government that has lost its way and people that are totally greedy. But go ahead.
yeah, but there is a God. You know, like I always say, I come from a God-fearing family. And as long as you pray to the Almighty in an honest way, not to pray to Him when you need something, you pray to Him all the time.
Yes.
Like when we was growing up, the first thing we were made to do was to get down on your knees every morning and every night before you go to sleep. That is how I was brought up, me and my siblings, you know.
Beautiful. Yes, yes.
Well,
I
just
noticed
wanted to mention,
I noticed on your WhatsApp profile you have two persons on the side of you.
yes,
there.
those are two of my daughters. Yeah,
All right,
those are two of my daughters.
beautiful
yeah,
man, and congratulations. Beautiful and congratulations.
Yeah,
they are beautiful man. Yes.
Gigi and Alice.
Okay.
Gigi is a RN.
Hi, Gigi.
Yeah,
Hi,
Gigi is
Alice. Yes.
Yeah, Gigi is a RN in Atlanta,
Okay.
and Alice works as a corporate secretary at Disney. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
So
good.
I am blessed. You know, that's why I'm in Trinidad so often. I had to leave them. They come when I'm around. You know, it's
I hear you.
they're from the Guinea gang. You know.
I see. I see.
All right, Lennox. I'm locked on and listening, and God bless my
And
loving people
my
and friend
assistant-
out to be you.
Yeah.
And but do you talk and concerning that football program you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah. My assistant will be in communication with you. All right.
All right, definitely.
Thanks very much. Yes, thanks very much.
And say hello to my good friend Andy and Mikey.
Yes, of course. I'm sure that he is listening right now because we do.
And Joshua. Don't forget Joshua.
Yes. He's a bit tired tonight. I mean, he had a very frenetic
bro.
2 days. Thanks very much.
Okay, brother.
Take
care.
Yes, indeed. Of course, that was a United States, of course, caller. Of course, the line is open. As I said, we are going to address a particular topic tonight, which is, of course, is the what I consider to be the situation where people want to have the cake and eat it. I think that is the appropriate cliche for describing the efforts of the teaching service, not the Teaching Service Commission, but certainly the teaching association, the Teachers Association, the Teachers Union, and that of Amalgamated, which of course represent certain municipal workers, and asking that they get a similar treatment as that of the PSA now that they have succeeded in getting their 10% negotiated. Let's go straight to the line. Yes, indeed. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to you, Uncle Lennox, and to all your listeners.
Yes, man.
On the World Wide Web and all who are listening around the world. You could go by PayPal, you could go by Western Union, MoneyGram, or you could write Uncle Lennox a direct letter with a postcard to George Street, Port of Spain, and he will get a little donation to help the needy in this area. So I am begging, I'm just the little fella who will ask and ask until Uncle Lennox succeed to fulfill his dream. Because what a wonderful dream he's putting out. And he's not only dreaming, he's getting it done. And we need the help to push it faster. So after doing that promotion for Uncle Lennox, I think I will get an extra free airtime. So Uncle Lennox, you use our word impalota or some impalofa.
Yeah, interloper. Yes, I did use that word some time ago. That was swordfish face terminology of people like myself, who of course are showing him up to be incompetent, indolent, extremely loquacious. We saw that in Parliament only recently, but clearly, generally, not being able to deliver, but believe that he could hold the office of a parliamentary representative without consequences or committing himself to the task that clearly is extremely difficult and challenging in a community such as East Port of Spain and other communities that are adjacent there too. But go ahead, my friend, yes.
Yeah, Uncle Lennox, I'm vexed with you, you know.
Go ahead.
Because exactly that's what I wanted to put it to. And thanks for telling the people. So they say, you said, and that is the whole thing I was getting at. And that interloper will sit in Parliament and try to wiggle his eye like he getting fits, like he have worm fits. He have worms and he catching fits. And just imagine, this is what he is doing. He's an interloper with no substance.
Yeah. And boldface too. He's the interloper, but calling others interloper. I am right here on George Street right now as we speak. Where is he? I suppose riding a bike and some cold pot and some breadfruit he roasting on something, trying to get to George Street or East Port of Spain at this time. I don't know. I just speculating. Go ahead.
But I feel like that bicycle, he had no saddle and he riding it backwards. Because so, and the next one is pedal and every bung. That fella is worse than a bigger interloper than the first one who get $3 million brief. Just imagine everyone trying to make himself important. He talking about stand your ground legislation is an unequal and unequality. But I want to ask you, Uncle Lennox, for the last 10 years, look at how much young men have high-power rifle. Where they get it? And every Brown and Paris and them know all the gang by name, even down to regular ammo. They know the names and how much gang and how much in a gang. And they know where the guns coming from and where the guns, how they obtaining the guns. It's no little boy can buy a gun. Who buy any gun? But they have gone to go in people's place and it's okay. But and now, on that note, I will jump over to Penelope Beckles. She's saying and telling my Prime Minister that my Prime Minister accusing she of aligning herself with narco traffickers and trying to deem she as a drug something. But Uncle Lennox, Penelope Beckers was in Kit Rowley cabinet just the other day, where Stuart Young was in.
Of course, everybody knows that.
But
That
like
goes
that
without
woman is either menopause or she paused it for man or something, you know, because she female hormones are acting up the right way. Because she can't say that the use them words outside and say that the accuser she, but Stuart Young is plainly was negotiated with Maduro, and he and Rowley, they were down there and Avery Brown and them, and she was part of the cabinet.
And boasted of how many times that they traveled in the case
150 something times.
Yeah.
150 something times.
Yeah.
So, Penny, you think you're right in your head? That is why half of the fraction fighting for you and the majority fighting for Stuart Young to be the leader. Because you really you something wrong with your head, lady. Because Donald Trump label it and bolt it on Maduro's chest. Then go and tell Sue Maduro, ain't you belong to United Nations? And they invite you to talk as an ex-representative. Then talk to them and tell them, Mr. Donald Trump is making mischief now. Go tell them United Nations is the place to vent it. And tell him he's not a narco trafficker. It's proven, tested. And that is what Keith Rowley was running this country. But Uncle Lennox, what I want to get to is Ronald Harford. Not Ronald Harford, Ronald Ramsey soon, who take away half our Republic Bank shares from Ronald Harford. Undermine it and inside trading under the radar. And trade. Though he's saying, look how ungrateful these people is now, boy. The TTRA, short man, who care for people. That is India, who care for people. He tax all our we and tax return everything. He was done sold. Taxing every single thing. The TTRA is the best thing, and most that TTRA is this and TTRA is revenue. $10 billion is going will escape the UNC. Now the esteemed member of parliament for Faizabad and finance minister put it on them and tell them that this is where the leakage is. Just imagine an insurance company selling insurance, making $1 billion quarterly, and when trying to pay tax, they declare loss. Tell me how to work out maths now by Uncle Lennox. And so what?
That is PNM maths for you.
But Uncle Lennox, I'm sorry to take so much time, but I had to bet this thing by Uncle Lennox. Santa Claus will bring nothing for this Christmas because I'll be on the naughty list. Because these lawyers use the word asinine people on them. Talking about, and them analysts on them, talking about taxation into poverty, the taxing the citizen. What the GTRA was, what property tax was, and the merit points, and everything. Just imagine 7% online tax, 7% on anything you purchase. Down to agriculture, they say it's zero rated. But when you go in custom to clear or them house on them, the brokerage house on them, they charge you everything and they say no proper documentation and writing from the minister. Only talking on the TV and not putting it in writing. Now they get it in writing. I wonder who stands to pay the big money. Because you see, when they were corrupt in the governance of this country and suffering the real poor man, they enrich themselves. And they know they get the dragnet now. They have to pay money. Because the way they was exempt, it captured all of them. It captured all of we.
The parliament, the sanctity of the parliament to confirm and to promote their greed and their avarice and their robbing of the population by saying that those things that Rowley and Innsworth were billing as family dwellings, that no taxation for 25 years. Imagine that. Give themselves that in the parliament because they have a slim majority. Well, no longer can that be so and will be so with the new government. Go ahead. They shall pay their fair share. And if not, they will pay the price in terms of the penalty for not so doing. Go ahead.
Yeah, because if you put a 5,000 penalty and jail time for not paying property tax,
Yes.
them people down in them sin and get all over Uncle Lennox and the laws in the head. Just imagine in there and them draw down from the deck all the assets that NIS to sell to fund the plan, the NIS plan. They sent home over 60,000 people, which affected the NIS revenue stream. And it reflected on the dance all over it. They said no and hoodwinking the public. No, my esteemed member of parliament showing them that way they thief out the money and they sell out the asset in the name of keeping the plan going. And now we have to take measures by the users to get their money. And now they kick it against it. But Uncle Lennox, you think these people and them right because they're hungry for power. And you think them so, I know see why it is. Sorry to say it, the African diaspora was down a slippery slope. And as Uncle Mikey said, in a gasoline-soaked bag. But what's that, Uncle Lennox? The PNM light that bag before he soaked the gasoline for them, It was lighted so slow till they didn't realize when they get the heat, that they done in the dungeon.
Yes,
and at least
going to hell in a gasoline-soaked paper bag. Yes, going to hell in a gasoline-soaked paper bag. You can't want it more hotter or more heated. Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, and the public servant negotiate. So where Jennifer Baptiste was, who she was, that a president general. Then you're talking about union. I didn't want to touch on it, but I'll stay out of that because you have a tendency to preempt your say. So I'll stay there because I don't want to go on the union. Let you talk first and I'll fall back. Because I will stay on Penny. Have a pleasant night, Uncle Lennox.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, of course, for your astuteness as per usual. I think always very welcome and indeed very sagacious and well thought out. Even though, of course, number of issues simultaneously almost when, of course, Mr. Faizabad makes his presentation. But that's his style, and some may or may not. I have to do the same thing within the limited time frame that we have on the program. So you'll find that it will be very compact. And so, of course, we have to shift from one area to the other. But, of course, we hope that at the end of the day, it paints a picture, putting all these pieces together like a puzzle. At the end of the day, the puzzle is solved, so to speak. So let me get back, of course. The line is open for those who wish to continue. Let me just make sure that I know that some people could only get me on the handset. So let me make sure and open it. Now it was charging. It's not activated. So I'm doing that now. But of course, as usual, I will prefer we use the system itself. Remember, it's only WhatsApp only, 337-6940. 337-6940. A long time now I have not announced or repeated the numbers. Pretty soon, of course, we'll have some ads and some what I consider to be information slots so that you will be better informed as to how to communicate. And of course, that will be extended to where we are or where we will be at TTT 91.1 Talk City, as well as on Channel 4. Yes, I'm talking about, of course, the ground report here. There is, of course, a picture that you see on the screen next to me. Well, that is in relation to the football tournament. It is called DNA, the David Naked Academy, endorsed by the Prime Minister, and was launched today at in Tunapuna, is it? Yes, in Tagarigua, in fact. Yes, in Tagarigua, on that playing ground there, that playing field there. But of course, it was only for the formalities. But I want to say that we too have decided that Latapik came from here, And we know that there are more lactopes around here, more than probably anywhere else in the country as far as we are concerned, even though other parts of the country may make that claim. But I want to say that there's none for me like Laventille. And I want to say as well that that is our logo. The name of the entity will be Love United FC. Let me just take this call. Love United FC, and we intend to participate. Of course, we want to get the assistance of members of the public, and of course, we thought we should target our foreign callers. So that is why the foreign caller could say that my assistant was attempting to get him today, even though he thought it was me, but it would have been my assistant. So we want to get as much. It's 2,500 to register, and then of course we have a pretty large budget because it's about, well, large comparatively speaking. But I'm trying to get this call, boy. Let me see. Why am I not getting this call? Okay, let me see. All right, call back, caller. Sorry about that. Well, you know, sometimes these smartphones, they're not as smart as one would think, or efficacious as one would think. So I'm making a point about, of course, the entity that we have created called Love United FC. Love, we thought we should, of course, name it after the political organization that we revere, and that is part and parcel of the coalition of interest. We didn't see anything wrong with it. Because we are a community-based party, a community-based entity, and therefore focus on Laventille. Of course, you would see on the logo itself, which we have created a very short space of time. We have very creative people and talented people, of course, all around us. So it was easy to, of course, create that, what I consider to be that gem, because I think it speaks volumes as to, and of course, I want to commend those who participated in putting the ideas together in order to make it happen. Let me just see if I can get the number now. All right, good. Oh boy, let's see. Come on, call. Come on. You want to come. All right. So I've lost it. Call again, caller. I'm sure that you'll eventually succeed. You know, like the nursery rhyme. Try again. You will succeed at last. But as I said, and we are looking for support. As I said, the registration alone is 2,500, and then of course we have to look at some of the attire, jerseys, t-shirts, trousers, of course, and socks. Then fellas say they have their boots, because that's a bit. That will extend, of course, the cost. And then, of course, we have transportation, ground transportation to and from the various venues, etc. So it's quite a effort indeed. Let me just. Come on, I'm trying to get. All right, okay. Let me see now. See, come on. Not coming on, man. Not coming on. All right. Try again, caller. Try again. I know Mr. San Fernando is attempting to get us, because he normally will get us on the handset. I don't know if he has a WhatsApp problem, but we normally would, of course, encourage people to call us on WhatsApp, 337-6940, 337-6940. If you have WhatsApp, and then, of course, we will be able to engage, of course, much more efficaciously, much more lucidly, and much more what I consider to be with a high degree of clarity, right, and audibility. We get it better on the system itself as opposed to, but we will take it the other way as well. All right. So if you have that capacity, certainly call us WhatsApp. If you don't and you want to call us on the normal line, well, no problem either. That being as it may, of course, let me continue. As I said, so we have some course. Of course, my assistant, Miss Annie, will communicate. Don't forget, of course, on top of that, we have some 25 member team in that tournament. I think it will last for about 6 months. It is being run by a group of professionals. One of the benefits, some major benefits, I believe it is, that they will have scouts from across the globe to come to see the talent that we have in this particular tournament, so as to give some opportunities to the young men who would be so engaged, and at the same time reduce the crime situation, the gang warfare, etc. The tournament will be held at very specific and strategic. Should I say? Yes. All right. I think I get it now. Very strategic and significant grounds, Larry Gomes, etc., etc. I think the non-official ground of the Hazley Crawford Stadium, as well as in Diego Martin. So it will not be a community base per se, but what I would say, a strategic location where clusters of communities can, of course, come and see their favorite teams, etc. We would love to be there, but we don't have the money. I've not seen the money yet. But let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hello, good night.
Good night, my friend.
Yeah, this is San Fernando.
Just hold on, caller. I have Mr. San Fernando on the handset. Go ahead, Mr. San Fernando.
I was listening to you earlier on, and you were saying something like the PNM is like when you mix water, you mix it with soap,
Yeah.
and you throw it on the wall and it slide off.
Yeah, caustic.
Well, I have one for you.
Go ahead.
Hear this one. The PNM is like taking a coin. You have a coin in your hand
Yeah.
and trying to spin it on an uneven surface.
Wow. wow. I hear you, my friend.
You know why I say so? Because I listened to Brian Manning yesterday,
Uh-huh.
right? And what he's saying is that he had to educate the minister of rural development.
Uh-huh.
By telling her,
This neophyte, this nincompoop. But go ahead. In more ways than one, but go ahead, yeah.
by telling her that government vehicles should not cannot be insured or should not be insured.
Yeah, because they have plenty money. Just as big business vehicles would not be insured according to him, and he's supposed to be some kind of expert in mathematics or accounting. Well, I don't want he around me at all.
Around me at all.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so he's really like a coin trying to be spun on an uneven surface. You could only get no spin, but go ahead.
But I want to say this, sir. If government vehicles should not be insured, well then they should have no license plates either.
But I don't know what this man means, because he sounds like a buffoon, he looks like a buffoon, and of course he is horizontally challenged. Some people say the fat when you're horizontally challenged, as somebody who is vertically challenged. Well, they call him a short man like Imsbert, who of course detests that because the speaker called him that. He tell him he vertically challenged. In other words, he have a short man syndrome, and he tell him that, and he say, I am not laughing. I feel insulted, in other words. But those are the reality and the best way to describe these guys. Go ahead.
And then too, there's a number that I think that is placed on your chassis. All of that is important for a vehicle.
Yes.
A chassis number.
Yes.
You must have that on your vehicle.
Yeah, to identify the vehicle in more ways than one, yeah.
Yeah. But one thing I want to find out before I go. I was up in that park years ago, but I didn't play any game. There's a park next to the Nelson Mandela ground. Is that the same ground?
No. They wouldn't be using that. There's a ground just outside the Hazy Crawford Stadium that they will be using. I didn't hear them mention
It's
that
going
part.
up in grass.
Yeah.
It's going up in grass.
Yeah.
It's up in grass. I mean, I was there this week, and when I saw it, I said, this thing going up in
Oh
grass.
yeah, of course. The regional the Punishment Corporation would want to orchestrate and leave it so to demonstrate that CPEP is missed. They don't have responsibility for it. Yeah. I'm sure it's a statement like that they will make, you see, because they have a way of manifesting what are very pernicious, evil intended intent in order to project an image that they are correct about things that they are totally wrong and out of their depth about. But go ahead.
I haven't been up there for many years, but this week when I saw it.
Yeah, that is what happening. The corporations and they are leaving, the PNM corporations are leaving the grass to grow to manifest, to fulfill an illusion that somehow CPEP would have been responsible there, and therefore, even though these corporations would have had responsibility, as they have always had, because since we're growing up, we know that the responsibility of these, that's why you have local government in the first place, and of course, one of the major functions is to, of course, clean and to cut the grass on the verges, to take care of cemeteries, to, of course, recreational grounds, etc., within the electoral boundaries that they are responsible for. And that has not changed, not because CPEP would have usurped that responsibility, but now that CPEP is no longer, one expects that will be reverted to them. But they don't see it as that. They see it as an argument to say that CPEP is missed when they are being paid. And the ethos for their existence is really to do that CPEP temporarily, of course, assisted them with. Go ahead.
But is it the same? Is it related to the Mandela ground, or is it the stadium ground?
The stadium ground, it is related to the stadium, not the Mandela is a different area altogether.
Yeah, okay, well, that's the contribution for the.
All right, thank you very much, of course, for that contribution. Sorry about the delay and the challenge that we would have had to get him on. But of course, perseverance is always a quality that I admire in human beings, because I always talk about the existentialist, where, of course, as a human being, you cannot say that your existence on earth is deterministic, meaning that you're born in poverty, that you must end up in poverty. No, as a human being, you must be able to evolve and rise out of that. Let me just try to get him off. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. So I got problems to get him on, and I get problems to get him off as well. So that's how it is with the technology. So let me just conclude before, of course, I engage the substantive topic tonight, which is, of course, congratulating the PSA for sticking to their guns, and the fact that they are now reaping the benefits, and there are those who are undeserving would like to rain on the PSA's parade. I say to them, get the hence, you Satans. You wanted your cake and still eat it. Well, you got what you deserve. Leave the PSA alone. And let the members of that organization enjoy their back pay and the benefits of the 10%. I understand that, but you will hear it from the Prime Minister in a moment. She made a statement on the matter in the Parliament yesterday. Yes, so that we confirm. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Sorry. Go ahead. I didn't notice that you were still there. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I'll try to be short because I know your
Yeah, we time constraint here, and I want to play that thing with the Prime Minister. Go ahead.
Yeah. But listen to this. I thought the former prime minister said that he was going to tend to his farm. He had a press conference again.
I thought so too. I thought so too. This man is
So
pathetic. This man
you know
is
you use that
evil.
term. You know you use that term. Who the gods wish to destroy, they put send them mad. I think he going mad. You know.
Oh, absolutely. But for a very long time now, it's just that it is not. It is now more poignant. It's much more visible. It was more conspicuous. Man, you have no local standard. You have no legal. You have no moral. You have no ethical. You are the past, and people looking to forget you, and you still want to reintroduce yourself and invoke yourself onto the people. That ain't gonna happen. Nobody has time with him. But if you see the promotion, your ball, but I'll give a view of it tomorrow. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I think he is desperate for the party because the local election coming up, and I see one of the PNM colleagues well, he gone to the Farley's party now, the noon. So they seem to be in desperate mood. That's the PNM, that is.
Well,
You know?
I don't know if the PNM understands that this
Mm-hmm.
man is rubbish, that this man
Well,
is putrid. And I'm saying so because in the last election, when he went on the platform and said that Watson Duke, because he on a rape charge, he should not be contesting the elections. And after that, he said he will give more on the next occasion. The PNM take him off the campaign altogether because they realized that he was more of a detriment than anything else. So they don't know. Anyhow, it appears that he has taken up that on his own. The party not seem to have distanced itself from that nonsense that he going and talk tomorrow. That is what I gather from it because nobody is endorsing it from the PNM perspective. So he's on his own there, a frolic on his own that clearly would only contribute to the further detriment of the PNM. They may not get a seat at all in Tobago now.
well,
But go ahead.
I know when to tell you. I know when to tell you the same thing. It's 14-1.
Yeah.
It look like it's 15-0.
Yeah, 15
Right?
nothing. Yeah.
Right.
I'm
So
yet
the
to
other,
talk to Fali. We normally would be in Tobago assisting, but Fali has not yet formally, of course, invited us. But we are looking at the possibility, and we may well be because, I mean, the election itself will be held on the 12th of January. So it's early days yet. The Christmas are the past, etc. But we'll have just about 11 days thereafter. But go ahead.
and the other subject I want to talk about is Jennifer Baptiste Primus.
Yes.
Jennifer, former Labour minister. She is making this, I don't know, this foolish statement that the present PSA president got hoodwinked. Right? I don't know I don't know how she came up with that formula. You know, I just don't know because she's introducing something about the ILO, which is the International Labour Organization, and the government can't treat one particular union, which is the PSA, like that, and don't treat the other unions. I think she had in some well, she losing her memory or something because Rowley told in fact he bullied the rest of the union to take 4% or lose their job. So he should have been reported by the ILO, as she said.
But no,
You
but she
understand?
remained silent when that occurred. Even a politician, minister of finance, projected 5% as if he and the CPO were the ones to negotiate, and she said nothing. But let me tell you this. Let me tell you how foolish she is. I don't have the rules before me. I was never an active member of the trade union movement. But my common sense tells me that, slightly agreeing with you, but of course from a different angle, and that is these trade unions that accepted the 4 or 5%, with their open eyes, they went and negotiate. So how the ILO come in there? Nobody stopped them from negotiating, unless she is saying that the last government of which she was a part foist that on them. That's the only But if it is that I am negotiating and I don't want to hold out for something better later down the road, as the case may be, weighing, of course, the politics and everything else, because you have to be able to be frugal and analytical to see where the pendulum is swinging in your favor, because that is the job of the trade unions. They, with their open eyes, including, of course, my favorite union, the teachers' union, with their open eyes, and, of course, the amalgamated, they went and they negotiate and accept the CPO's 4 or 5%, and that's it. There's nothing to say the ILO, how the ILO come in there. If they were prevented from negotiating, is a different story. So that how, now that the PSA has negotiated for their 10%, there is some kind of ILO infringement, according to what you say. I've not read the article, but my common sense tells me that that is hogwash diatribe, and of course attempting to try to salvage something that simply doesn't exist. And I want to say, and I cannot overemphasize, the acceptance of that 4 or 5% by those trade unions was to keep the status quo, was to encourage the population, the voters, to vote for the PNM. That's what that was all about. And therefore, to me, that is unpardonable. Let she go to the ILO and tell them that. Go ahead.
And I fully agree with you with that, you know. I fully agree with you, because most of these unions, they just throwing the hat in the ring with the PNM.
That's right. That's what they did.
But I'm telling you, that's how it is.
Yeah. The evil that the PNM perpetrated on them, they say, all right, I'll open it up. It's like, of course, taking poison voluntarily. But this ain't no situation with, of course, the suicide pact that occurred some time ago in Guyana.
Yeah, and you know what the saddest part of that? You know what the saddest part of that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Rowley bullied them and told them if they don't accept 4%, they will lose their job.
Yeah, all of that happened in COVID, out of COVID.
And the country don't have no money, but he took 47%.
Yeah.
And none of them came out and marched.
Yeah, none of them.
The country don't have money. Yeah, the country don't have money for them, but it have money for Rowley and the president
and his cohorts
and the rest of
a bunch of thieves.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bunch
so you
of
take
thieves.
care, my friend.
Yes. Yeah, mate.
So
thank you very much for
Good.
raising that in the discussion. I like that. Yes, once again, people, of course, don't forget that's the logo. So you see, we work in. Of course, that costs us a pretty penny as well, but say what, we have to find the resources. So my assistants will be, of course, communicating with you, especially those abroad, to see if it's in 100 or 20 US, wherever it is, by Western Union, whatever, and hope that we'll be able to do what we want to do, because we are satisfied that this initiative will certainly assist in the reduction of youth delinquency. It will enhance, of course, the economy, but not the economy, but the community, because especially when we win, and then, of course, bringing those youths together from different parts. So they're not going to come from one part of Laventille, they'll come from different parts of Laventille. So as to break down the borderline, break down, of course, the gang warfare and the propensity thereto, and then, of course, give them time to do something that would occupy their time, because you have training, you have, of course, games itself, and you must have time for interaction. We have set up a whole class room scenario here, and one of the problems I'm going to tell you, one of the problems we have is that many of them say they're not coming on George Street because Nelson Street is too close. So we had to have different venues to hold meetings. So the last meeting we held was, of course, in a building on Charlotte Street. I'm telling all you what's going on. So it is not an easy task, and therefore the cost of it. And if you can, have the heart and the mind and the wherewithal to assist us, we really will appreciate. I know that it is difficult, but this is the price we have to pay in